Nate in Annapolis. Hey, Nate, what's up?
Hey, Tom, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm fine. It says here that you want to argue with me.
No, I don't necessarily want to argue with you. You talk about you disagree with the fact that Warren Buffett's secretary pays more in taxes than he does.
Right.
I completely
As a percentage of her income.
Yes, I completely agree with you. I disagree that capital gains is lower than the income tax. My question for you is why should the income tax be higher? In other words, what's wrong with a 15% rate for everybody? What's wrong with?
Well, first of all, it doesn't generate enough It doesn't generate enough revenue to fund the government. Secondly,
okay, so why is that a bad thing? Why can't we cut back? And
because our government right now is about 20% of our GDP, and it is dying. It is hurting us. We don't, our GIs are not getting decent services when they come back from the military. We have a $2 trillion deficit. Ever since Reagan, we haven't fixed a bridge, basically. We've got bridges that are falling apart. We've got water systems that are falling apart. We've got sewage systems that are falling apart. And this is the 19th century infrastructure. And we got infrastructure that was built in the 1800s that needs to be repaired and replaced. And the Republicans are obstructing that. And nobody's even talking about building 21st century infrastructure. Germany just devoted 8% of their GDP. Keep in mind, our entire government is 20% of GDP. Germany just devoted 8% of their GDP to build a national smart grid so that everybody can have solar panels on their house, and the smart grid can handle all the electricity flying around in all the 16 different ways to Sunday. And they can do away entirely with nuclear power and entirely with oil powered power plants, fired power plants. And
okay, well,
and
let me stop you right there, Tom. Wait a second. Why can Germany afford that? Because they've relied on us and the rest of the Western world since the end of World War II for national defense.
Not true. Germany has a very substantial army. They have and it's a meaningful part of their GDP.
The military. No, I disagree. If you've seen the state of their military,
our bases in Germany are not to defend Germany. Our bases in Germany are to defend us. They're there. They were there against Russia as part of the Cold War. Number one. Sure. Number two, the Germans pay income taxes around. It depends on your income, of course, but anywhere from 30 to 60%. Rich people in Germany pay well over 50% in income taxes, and they do so gladly. This clip is apocryphal. It's been all over the internet. This was 6 months ago. I think it was on Bloomberg. This German businessman was being interviewed by the guy out of Singapore who does the evening news there, and he says, how can you stand paying so much in income taxes? And the guy, after the third time he asked, the guy kept saying, oh, it's not a problem. And third time he asked, the guy says, I don't want to be a rich man in a poor country. Is that what you want?
No, I don't. But
then don't you think that your country should, as Germany does, give everybody basically a free education all the way through college? That if you want to be a doctor, it shouldn't be only possible to you if you came from a family like Mitt Romney's?
No, I think you should be able to stand on your own 2 feet and,
So if you are not a member of the Lucky Sperm Club and you're born to poor parents, screw you if you want to go to college.
Well, no, I disagree because I paid for college on my own. Thank you very much.
How?
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 I worked through college.
Worked doing what? What can you possibly do that could pay for medical school?
There's plenty of things you can do for medical school. You can serve in the military, and they'll pay for your medical school. You can work your way through. And
so you can become slave labor.
I'm sorry?
You can become slave labor or you can go in debt. What I'm saying is that as a country, we should be investing in our young people, in our future, in our intellectual infrastructure. We're the only developed country in the world that doesn't do that. As a country, we should be saying healthcare is a right. We were founded on the principle of the right to life. How can you have life if you are sick and you can't get treatment?
Okay, well then, how can you be a supporter of women's choice?
How can you have life if your body is falling apart and you cannot get treatment?
My question, Tom.
How can you? You haven't answered my question. How can you have life if you are sick and can't get treatment? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You're entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We can debate all day long when life begins, but I'm talking about people who are walking around talking. How can you have life if you don't have national health care? If you don't have the right to life? If you don't have the right to health care? How can you have it?
Okay. Okay, well, answer me this then. How is it?
I haven't heard an answer to my question yet.
Okay,
Nate.
well, I'm gonna ask you with another question.
No, you can answer me with an answer. Tell me, how can we be a developed nation and not in the 21st century and not even have a discussion about 21st century infrastructure? Instead, we're having a debate about a 19th century oil pipeline running across the middle of our country so that the oil refineries owned by the British and the Dutch can export gasoline to England, South America, Mexico, and China. This is crazy. I don't understand how Republicans can be and conservatives like you, Nate, can be supporting this.